Hello there and welcome to my painting guide for the Masters of the Universe Battleground Wave 5 Evil Warriors faction. Now, being completely honest, I actually sprayed these guys up without thinking. They should have been sprayed white, so I have to adjust for that. So what I did was I actually broke out my airbrush and I sprayed them the appropriate base color. Sometimes when you're painting you make mistakes, and I wanted to include this error in the video to show that it's absolutely fine if you do. After correcting myself, the first thing I did was add some contrast medium to some alkane green and gave the drones a all-over body wash. For Webster, he got a base coat on his skin with Macragge blue. This was then followed up by a wash of Drakenhof Nightshade, watered down with some Lamia medium. I then used some thinned down Blue Horror to start highlighting and layering in the main colour of the droids. This will take a couple of coats to get the consistency that you're looking for. I then did a 50-50 mix of Blue Horror and Matte White to start the initial highlight, making sure the paint is nice and thin as well. Then just some thinned down Matte White to do the final highlight. Abaddon Black was used to colour in the screen on the front and where the eyes sit. And the eyes were painted with a coat of Avalanche Sunset, followed by Flash Gitz Yellow. The readout on the chest was painted Wild Rider Red, followed by a mix of Wild Rider Red and Fire Dragon Bright just to do the absolute tits. The arms and lower part of the body were painted with Iron Hand Steel, which was then given a wash with some contrast Basilcanum Grey mixed with some contrast medium. While that dries, we'll move back to the blue. I'm going to use Macragge Blue just to tidy up any of the areas that we just previously washed. That was then mixed with Alatok Blue for the main highlight, followed by Alatok Blue just by itself, and then Hoeth Blue was then added to the Alatok Blue for a quick mix to do the final highlight. Abaddon Black was used to paint in the loincloth, which was then given a wash of Nuln Oil. While that dries, we'll finish off the silver on the droids by adding some Stormhost Silver to the Iron Hand Steel, followed by Stormhost Silver just on its own to do the fine edges. Moving back to Webster, we'll start highlighting his loincloth with some Eshin Grey, followed by Mechanicus Standard Grey, and finally Dawnstone. His belt will be painted with Evil Sun Scarlet, which will be given a wash of Carroburg Crimson. While that dries, we'll move on to his armour and start painting that with Naggaroth Night, which will be given a wash of Druchii Violet. The belt should be dry by now, so we're going to mix some Evil Sun Scarlet with Wild Rider Red to do some edge highlighting, with a final highlight of Wild Rider Red. The wash on the armour will be dry now, so we're going to add some Xeris Purple to Naggaroth Night and start edge highlighting, with the final highlight of Xeris Purple by itself. I'm going to quickly pick his eye colour out with some Avalanche Sunset, sorry about the blurry footage, and his teeth will be picked out with Matte White. Next, we're going to paint the tube that connects to his weapon, Iron Hand Steel, and that will be given a wash of Nuln Oil. The symbol on his breastplate and his weapon we're going to be using a Jakero Orange. Will be given a wash of Fagan Orange. I'm going to use this time while that dries to paint his extra limbs that come out of his backpack. They're going to be painted exactly the same as we painted his skin, so just follow those steps for that. With the wash now dry, we're going to mix some Fire Dragon Bright with Jacaro Orange just for the edge highlighting. And with that, the main painting is out of the way, so it's just to finish off their bases. I'm going to use Dawnstone to paint the smoke on the droids. And then I'll mix in some grey skier to build up the main body of the smoke. And that'll be lightly highlighted with some thinned down grey sear. The rocks and the rest of the base will be painted with Mornfang Brown. And that'll be given a wash of Agrax Earthshade. Once the wash was dry, all the rocks were then highlighted with Skag Brown. The rims of the bases were painted Abaddon Black. And finally, the direction indicator was painted matte white. And there we have it, that's Webster and those two droids completely finished. They're a really nice set of models to paint. They didn't take too long at all either, they only actually took about 4 hours in total. And I think they add a lot of personality to the game, especially those two droids. If you've made it all the way this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope this guide has been some help to you. If you want to see more, subscribe, give us a thumbs up and maybe share, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.